On today's Moving the Chains, Jerel, a season preview of the Barnwell Warhorses with head coach Brian Smith.
Yeah, it's great to catch up with Coach Smith today. It's been a while. We haven't been able to talk to him on air since we did the season preview. I think we did some post-game stuff a few years back. So great to catch up with him, see what's going on there. Big news in the county with the shifting high schools there in the next couple of years, but, gives us some players to watch, some places to eat, and it was a good time talking with Coach Smith.
Always fun with him for sure. Always an exciting program to follow as well. The Barnwell Warhorses, they are there. So check us out. I hope you enjoyed the interview today. A season's preview with Brian Smith, the head coach of the Barnwell Warhorses. Be sure to follow us on YouTube at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.
Welcome into Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Jerel Hendricks. Got a great interview today, a very special guest for a 2026 season preview, and that's the head coach of the Barnwell Warhorses, Brian Smith. Coach, how you doing today?
Great. Glad to be here with you guys. Love what y'all do to promoting the great sport across the great state of South Carolina, and appreciate everything you guys do to help us out.
Well, we appreciate the kind words, Coach. Appreciate your time as always. We really do. If this is you guys' first time tuning in, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, our website, movinchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Coach Smith will be heading into his fourth season with the Warhorses. They went 4-7 last season before falling in the first round of the playoffs. Coach, let's start with some scheme questions, some play calling questions. Any changes for you guys this year offensively and defensively, and what's that going to look like for the Warhorses?
The first change is we don't want to play 14 quarterbacks this year. We played 14 quarterbacks last year, which has to be some kind of record. Now, I included guys that had to learn how to – we just took our athletes and said line up and catch a snap, run power, run zone, run counter, run buck sweep, pin and pull, whatever. And, I count those guys as quarterbacks because they had to run the offense. So after we started getting kids hurt last year, about week 7, I grabbed 3 kids or week 6. I grabbed 3 kids and said, y'all need to come meet at practice today. And they said, what are we doing, Coach? They thought they were in trouble. I said, okay, we're going to learn some quarterback stuff. They said, Coach, I've never played quarterback a day in my life. They'd never taken a snap, called a snap shotgun. I said, I just have to have somebody that can try to run the offense. So worst injury season we'd ever had. So, that was a rough year. Lost a couple games. We kind of had one screwed away from us by a call that we didn't really agree with. But, it's all good. We kind of learned a little bit in those times coming off that state championship team that made it to the state championship game, But so this year, we're hoping to be a little more wide open, throw it around a little bit, do the things that we can do. But we're still a running football team. I watched the new guy at Oklahoma State. He said he was tired of having his record-setting offenses, not winning games and championships, which at Texas Tech with the air raid. So, we're a 11 personnel team. We're heavy with some H-backs. Our H-backs are something we have a lot of. We're very not limited up front. We have a lot of linemen. I was in a principal's office the other day. He was looking at our roster. Goes, Coach, you have a lot of numbers over 49. And I said, no, there's not. I said, actually, some of the numbers below 49 are going to end up, if we have to, by putting a jersey on with a 50, a 60, or a 70, having to play it. So offensively, that's kind of our deal here. We're going to try to play out of some 11 personnel, throw the ball around when we can, get the ball in some playmakers' hands, but try to be as mixed and as balanced as we can and run the football.
Coach, you mentioned, this is a program that's used to winning, talking about, playing for a state title a few years ago. Last year didn't go as planned. You mentioned the injury adversity. How have the kids kind of responded this offseason and use that, tough year as motivation as they prepare for this season?
I'm going to tell you what, we're young, but we've got a group that really and truly, they're not trouble. And they come to work every day. They do what we ask them to do. They get after it. I like the way they work. They're not causing trouble in the building, not causing trouble out in the community. They're coming in and just really mindset is we got to get better at this. And you can feel it when we go out to play and practice. They get on each other a little bit when Brad Brownell said when the voices in the locker room become the voices that are making the difference and listening, that's when you have a good football team. And yes, we have to do some things, but our guys are solving some of the issues themselves. They take care of it, whether it's work ethic or it's practice time or just being late for something. There's an expectation here for our standards as coaches that everybody's on time and does it the right way and works hard. Everybody's hot. We had a JV kid miss practice, said he had homework. Well, he had to run. And I told him, I said, everybody in this program's got homework. I got homework. There's things I got to do to get ready for the next day. But I got to be here. And you got to be here, just like we got to work. So the good thing is our kids are really and truly bought into that. They understand their roles. We've got a kid in Case Davis who's one of our best baseball players who's going to be a junior for us this year. He knows already he has to be a quarterback, a running back, and an H-back. And he knows he's got to be prepared to start at any one of those three at any time. And they're somewhat similar, but they're also different. And our kids have bought into that. We've got a lot of cross training where kids are picking up a second position, even on the same side of the ball, because our numbers are a little lower. But it's who we are. It's who we got. We're coaching the guys we got. We're coaching up hard, and I'm happy about the group we have.
Yeah, Coach, we're talking to you now. It's early August, so you've been through all the summer stuff, all the 7-on-7 stuff. What did you learn about this group that makes you excited for this season throughout that time?
Big thing we learned is we compete. These kids compete. We talked about the other day. We kind of had a little lull in scrimmage against the team I thought we were better than. We still beat them in the scrimmage, but yet we didn't play to our standard. Our standard can't change. It doesn't matter if we're playing the Green Bay Packers or the Little Giants in the Little League team. Our standard is to go excel. We expect you to do your job right every time. And our kids are buying into that. They love to compete. Sometimes in competition you lose. And we talked about this the other day. If that happens, the best thing we do in football is when we lose, I got to walk over and I got to shake the hand, look the guy in the eye, congratulations, good luck to you. If we can help you, let us know, and keep walking. Sometimes you got to keep walking because you don't know them that well. But it's not a happy time. But you got to go through that handshake line and tell them good job, congratulations, and do it. That's where we are. We still want to compete. We love to compete. Bill Russell said if they're going to keep score, he might as well win. And that's why he's probably the greatest team player in the history of the world, because he went out there. The Celtics were pretty doggone good back then too, especially me being a Celtics fan. I know that. But, he said if we're going to play, let's win. It didn't matter if it's a pickup game, one-on-one. I tell the kids all the time, Coach, they say, Coach, I can block you. Well, let's go. You might block me, but I'm not going to back down from you. I tell my son, we were talking about him earlier, and I used to tell him, you can outrun me if I ever get you and get you on the ground, you're in trouble. And, so kind of that's the mentality we want to preach to these guys is, we're not going to stop. We might get beat, but we're going to go down. We're going to go down hard no matter what happens.
Coach, we love talking to you and all the great coaches across the state, but we are a Players First podcast. You mentioned you had a young bunch for the most part, but who are some special players that, contributed? A lot of players played last year, as you talked about. Who are some guys that maybe, contributed for you last year, or some special guys that you've kind of seen come up through the JV ranks that you expect to make impact this year?
Well, I'm going to start with probably the guy that's the leader of the whole bunch, and that's Torrey Pickens. Torrey's number 11 for us. He's a senior. He starts at inside backer. He starts at running back. When Torrey talks, everybody kind of turn around and listen, because usually he talks with his pads, his work ethic, his pads. He doesn't mind making a little contact. Saban always said he wanted to recruit running backs that could play linebacker. He's a running back that plays linebacker. He's a linebacker that plays running back. Excuse me, because that's his mentality. He'd rather run over you than run around you. And our kids see his work ethic every day. They see what he does every day on the field, off the field, classroom. Doesn't say a lot. He's a quiet kid that really gets in there and does everything the right way. But when he shows up, he's going to do that for you. He's going to bring something to every team he's on. Just a great kid to be around. He's the energy. He's the one they all listen to. And I told him after the scrimmage the other day, I said, you may not want to do this, but I need you to get in front of the line and we're going to run sprints after the scrimmage. He jumped up there, boom, and took off. And when he took off, we're running the snake over, sprint over and jog back, sprint over, jog back. So, he takes off doing the first one, And I didn't have to say much because everybody else is kind of jumping in line to go. But they see him do that. That comes from respect. So he's kind of our team leader there. And the next guy, and he'll be a senior, is Carl Hines. Carl's a 3-year starter for us on the OLDL. Doesn't come off the field a lot. A little undersized, not a lot undersized. He's not 6'5", 350 or 315, but he's a smaller guy that's going to play. He plays hard on both sides of the ball. We've had to work really hard. Our special teams is a work in progress. I mean, I feel good about them. And when I say it, we've had to work hard to get guys like Carl and Torrey a break with the understanding that we can't go lose a ball game because you're on the sideline watching us get a punt blocked or give up a punt return or a kickoff return. So they have to be prepared for that. And they bought in with that. We're going to try to get you a blow here, but you can't come off the field. And you've got to be prepared to play every snap. That's been my mantra with them all summer. You've got to be prepared. I used to say for years, there's kids at Abbeville not going to leave the field. And they're not complaining about it. Michael Jordan was Defensive Player of the Year one year, early in his career. We're going to play offense and defense in basketball. Most of us only one guy gets to hit only in baseball. So we got to do both. Let's do it here. We want to play. We don't want to sit the bench. And our kids have kind of bought into that mentality and that attitude. And we hope we see it on Friday nights, But again, they understand on our special teams chart, it says emergency. And there's Carl or Torrey's name a lot of times because there may not be a sub, but when it's time for ball games on the line, we got to get those two kids in there.
It makes a lot of sense.
I would say this too, Josiah Gibbs was our quarterback, broke his ankle last year, probably the first drive against South Aiken, second or third game of the year, and just really he sat behind Cameron Austin there, got a chance to play, and then, man, devastating injury, out for the whole year. Has come back and leads. Another quiet leader, not very vocal guy, but is throwing the ball well, going to run some. Scrimmage Monday night, we let him run the ball a couple times, and it's the first time he's really been hit, but he kind of liked it, so he sees that hole open up. He's in it. I tell him one time, I said, look, man, that's an unnecessary hit. Get out of bounds or get down. Just don't take the hit there, because he thought he was Torrey trying to run over this linebacker. I'm like, no, man, just get down. You got your yards, get down. Know where you're on the field. Know that we got the first down. It's a big run for him, but no down distance, and be smart about it. But he's going to lead us offensively, and they even stuck him in to play defense the other night. And I'm like, I didn't know. I missed it because it was late in the scrimmage, and they said, you missed something tonight. And I said, what's that? They said, we played Vinny on defense, and I said, yeah, y'all lucky I didn't see that because I'd have subbed him myself, got him off that defensive field real quick. But he'll lead us this year.
Coach, who do you guys have lined up for a jamboree? I'm sure you're probably playing Friday night this week. Who are you guys going to get after?
Sir, we go to Easy Jamboree, Cupcake, Strong. Anytime you go to Strong Thurman, I tell Webb, I just want to be on the home sideline. That's all I want. I mean, I was there. I walked those sidelines 5 years. He said I've earned the right to be the home team, so I'm the home team. We got Saluda. We played Saluda. We've been there the last 3 years. Saluda, Batesburg, Saluda, which is pretty good for us. I mean, You doesn't get any better than those guys. And then Thurman and Union are in it. So, we scrimmage Union Monday night. So, we're trying to play some good people. And we also make a little money going to Thurman. It's a great place, great atmosphere. They've always done that thing well. So, and I get to see a lot of my former players, a lot of people I know. We're going back, so it's great for us. But we make money, good competition, prepares us for the first ball game, which for us, we're going to have about 28 players on the varsity. And we're going, and I think that includes 3 kickers who do nothing but kick. And we're going to have low to mid 20s on the JV. Okay. So we put our best 11 out there. It's kind of hard to get we get good looks. We do a little pier we call Talladega in the middle of it because I stole it from Abbeville and Thurman. Thurman calls it Brickyard. Abbeville calls it Daytona. And I wanted to call it Darlington or the Lady in Black or something, but I went with Talladega because it's a super speedway, Should have been built in Greer. They kind of screwed that up. The upstate people messed that up with the water. So it ended up going to Alabama. There's your upstate history, Kevin. Should have been had a spot in Greer right there in Greenville, Spartanburg counties, right down the line where BMW is. They were going to build Talladega, and they ended up moving it to Alabama. But we call it Talladega. We take the best 11 we got on offense, and we play the next best 11 on defense, and we flip it. And then the next day we do the best 11 on defense against the next best 11 on offense to try to simulate good on good work and try to go fast. Race car theme. Talladega's a raceway. I said Talladega. One of them thought it was an Eric Church song. The other one thought it was Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby. And I'm like, no, guys, it's a racetrack. You got to understand your sports history here, guys. I'm trying to teach this to y'all. But really and truly, it's a chance for us to go against great competition. If we hit Thurman, we hit Thurman. If we had to hit Union again, we hit Union again. We hit Batesburg. I don't think Batesburg's there this year, but whoever we play, it's always going to be great teams because, number one, we make good money because those fans from all those schools show up. And it's a great place to be. But we get a true test, good, bad, or indifferent. And it doesn't count. I mean, it counts in my mind. It counts in our kids' minds, but it tells us exactly where we are. And so we're excited about Friday night. So we'll be at Thurman 6 o'clock and on the home sideline, and we're going to see the Saluda Tigers, who I've heard are pretty good right now, getting after it. And, heard good things about them too. So we're excited about that.
Kevin and I love talking high school football in South Carolina, but it's a little bit more special during those realignment years in the off season. So you guys are dropping down to 1A this year, going to be in Region 4. Got some heavy hitters, some really good competition: Blackfield, Hilda, Calhoun County, HKT, and Wagner Sally. With that realignment dropping down, how does that change your preparation as a coach? Move into a new class, move into a new region, maybe some teams that you haven't faced previously, some teams you're familiar with. How does that change your prep going into the year?
Well, first of all, remember now there's 70 teams in 1A. So this is like 2A light is what this is. Okay? We're in. So, because we still got Fairfield and we still got, you still got all these good teams in 1A and come down from 2A. And to me, the biggest difference is the fact that Northwestern is now in 5A because you made 70 teams in 1A. You got Northwestern in 5A. Some of those other teams are in one division with Dutch Fork and those guys. That's kind of how it's affected the upper divisions a little bit. But for us, I guess one of the good things I'll say was, I coached in the Hyphen-A region when I was at Rich Freemanetta. So I know it. I know some of the places. Like I've been to HKT. I've been to basketball games at North. My son played basketball for us there and played football for us. So I've been to some of those places. I know how to get to them. You have to look your place up. But it's still football. It's really not changing much. We're not going to change it. It doesn't change us. It's just different teams we're playing. We've been playing Blackville. We've been playing Williston. They're combined now. I played, of course, Wagner Sally, was our rival there at Ridge Spring. 2019 upset them to go to state championship. Kind of a fun night. One of the best wins ever been around. They beat us 42-0 in the regular season with my quarterback out, and we kind of hit lightning in a bottle there in the playoffs and got healthy and wanted to go play for state championships. That was great. Fun memory. They got a new school and new stadium, great new facility. But I kind of know all these guys. A couple of coaches changes have happened, but the big thing is I don't see it as any different. I don't think it's somebody said, I heard a coach say this, I'm glad we're going 1A because we have a chance to win a state championship. And I'm like, well, I don't know how you think that because, number one, you're going to be in there with all those teams that went down because they're a Division I team. We had the two brackets that have already divided, So you're a Division I team. So you're basically, again, 2A light. And it's pretty good football. And there's no upper state, lower state. So Everybody's going to be going in a pool based on RPI and based on first and second seeds, and then you're going to move up and down. So it's the old school cross bracketing, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be seeds across the state, no upper or lower. So you can play somebody in your side of the state in round one, and not have to, or the opposite side of the state in round one. So it's going to be fun. It's good football. I think every football coach should coach 1A or 2A football. And I started out at Greer with 4 classes. We were 3A. They were coming off a state championship. We won another one there a couple years after that. But when you coach 1A or 2A, you got to figure out ways to finagle rosters like the ones we're talking about. We've got, like I said, our JV. We got some receivers playing guard on our JV right now, and not because they're bad kids. Just that's where you got to play right now for us to play football. We don't have enough linemen. We got some backup linemen who are like, Coach, I don't want to change my number. Don't worry, your number's the same. You can warm up in it. And then the second series, we may toss you a jersey and say, throw this on. You have to go play tackle today. So he can warm up whatever number he wants, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But it's great football. It's always been great football. Mm-hmm. And it will continue to be great football. You know, the guys who are in Texas playing 6-man and 8-man in Texas and Oklahoma, they're coaching just as hard as we are. And it doesn't change. It's just there's less numbers. And, again, I shared with a college coach a couple weeks ago the fact that I had to go out and take a field. I can go out and take a field and use Pythagorean theorem and make sure it's square if there's no corners, and we can line everything up and line it off. And they're like, I don't know how you do that. Well, you never had to do that. In some places I've been, other coaches have been, you got to line up and do those things. So the biggest thing to me, I think, when you get in a smaller school is, as the head coach, you better be prepared to coach every position on the field by yourself that day. Now, that doesn't happen in Barnwell. Okay, I've got a great coaching staff, one of the best around, and I know that because they're all experienced. They've all done things, great things as coaches, tons of state championship game experience on this staff, but 2 guys who've been a head coach before. So it really helps us a lot. But when I was at Ridge Spring, again, I had to be prepared every day. You go out and somebody can't show up because they got to work. They have a job somewhere else that they do for a living, and they call them in early or call them in and keep them late, and they're not going to be there. You got to be prepared to coach everybody. And that's the biggest thing for me, I think, with 1A and 2A. And the other part is I called it the evolution of Coach Smith a little bit when I went to Ridge Spring, was that you can go fast, and get after it on offense, score, and you turn around. Those same 11 are on defense, or 8 of 11 are on defense. And they're looking over at you, and they're had hands on these. So we can talk tempo all we want. And when you just coach offense and you got your 2 platooning, you can go tempo all the time. But you've got to practice smart and you've got to game smart. And what I mean by game smart is go down the field fast first drive, that team's gassed, you may give up a score. Whereas if you just slowed it down and just methodically moved the ball down the field. Now, we still don't huddle, okay, because I don't want to huddle, but we just go slower. And I feel that gives us a better chance to win ball games, and that's the goal.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
All right, a couple easier ones for you, Coach. What you got today? I know you were ready for these. We talked about them last weekend. So your pregame playlist heading to the games on a Friday night. What's your music like? What you going to these days?
You know, my wife says on Sunday morning is the only morning I get up and I get to play music. So she says when I get out of the shower, I'm the only person that goes from like Ludacris, Dr. Dre to George Strait to Hillsong and Bethel and, you know, Vern Gosdin. She goes, nobody else is listening to the musical stuff that you listen to. And I love it all. So, but, you know, for me, I'm a George. She got to see George Strait. You know, I told him, George Strait sang Amarillo by morning and Troubadour when we were at the concert in Clemson this year. So I'm good for life now. I'm good. I've done it. You know, I've done it all. So I'm a George Strait guy. But, you know, I'm a shuffle guy. I don't want to listen to anything straight through. So you're liable to get LL Cool J, I Need Love from me. You know, you're liable to come up with some Wonderwall or Iris with Goo Goo Dolls and Oasis, you know. So I've got all kind of stuff going in. We talked about Thurman earlier, and one of the things Strom Thurman taught me was the importance of the song In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. You know, those kids at Thurman would play that thing. The first question I got asked when I went to Thurman as head coach was, kid raised his hand. He said, Coach, can we keep the song? And I said, the song? What's the song? And they tried to explain it to me. I said, we'll tell you later. And so, you know, Thurman back in the 90s, I don't know if they still do this now, but they cut the lights off in the locker room and they play In the Air Tonight. And it gives me, I can still sit there and hear the kids start buckling chin straps. And then when it starts beating the drums, they just all in the locker room just attack each other in the middle of the locker room, in the old locker room. We called the Blue Room back then, and just get crazy. And so, you know, I'm always going to play that, but I'm kind of got a little Jesus music out there, a little rap, a little Jesus rap sometimes too, And then I like country. It's kind of I'm a highway kind of on Sirius, kind of those 56, 57, 58 kind of guy. But like all that stuff. But I don't like anything for a long time. I need change. I'm a change the channel guy when I'm watching TV shows and ball games, and I'm kind of the same way on the radio. If something comes on that I'm not really a fan of, I'm gonna change it and go to the my presets on Sirius are the 80s channel, the 70s channel, the country stuff, the Jesus channels, Lil Bon Jovi. We don't have a Motley Crue station yet on Sirius. I don't know why, but all that kind of stuff. I'm very random, but love all the different kind of music, and I'll just sit there and listen down on the bus and riding, and really to get myself ready to go play a ball game.
Love that, Coach, man. Gotta love the diverse, music taste there. I can't do the shuffle. I love all genres of music, but I cannot do the shuffle. If I'm listening to something, I gotta listen to it straight through. But I'm embarrassed to say we gotta listen to something all the way down to Barnwell. It's been a while since we've been down there, so need to know if we're coming to that game, what are some restaurants that we need to hit up in the area?
Well, the one that provides us the most pregame meals, and I know Kevin, Anthony's is a old school Barnwell place to go. Anthony's, our kids, we're very fortunate. Our parents and community members and churches and groups all feed us a lot, but most of the time they just call in, order Anthony's, and they bring us these trays of, and the kids like chicken strips, So we've done pretty good with that. So Anthony's is number one. You got Yanni's, which is kind of a pizza sub place, a local place. Mr. B's, you can always get a good meal there. Got a local guy here. Whenever we beat a certain school that's in a county next to us, he takes the whole, in football and baseball, he takes the team out to eat, for there one night for some steaks because he loves it so much. But Mr. B's is great. And you got your Mexican places. We have 3 Mexican places. They're all pretty good. We got Sombreros. We got Mi Rancho. We got one here at the Whitney Inn right down from the school, So we got people there at those 3 places. And, so we're kind of very diverse. There's a Jamaican place. You could throw a football for our old practice field and hit it. Now, I've never eaten there, but it's right here next to the school. So, if you need to get your fix, we got everything for you here. We can do all of those things and more. So you ever come down here, we can find you the place to eat for whatever you want.
I love it, Coach. We'll definitely make a trip again here soon. So I know that, Jerel's an avid reader. You're an avid reader. What's the best book you've read lately? I know you've been going through a whole list this summer, it seems like.
Man, I told you, I think I told you the other day, someone once told me if you have 1,000 books, you have a library. And I didn't count my books I've got an office at home, and I've probably got at least 800 books in it. I'm a big, I read different. I never read one book straight through by itself. I'm always reading multiple books.
Okay.
I love Conroy. Conroy was Pat Conroy. The guy and I were talking about online the other day about it. Nobody really got. He said he texted me off Twitter. Said, "Do you think anybody understands?" He wrote a little short story about people in the valley, and it was real horses don't eat moon pies. Okay, and I fed our linemen after practice RC colas and moon pies. And he put on Twitter, he said, "You can't say that." And I'm like, "No, we're real horses here. We can do that. We're okay. We can eat moon pies." But, anyways, it was kind of when I look at Conroy, South of Broad, Lords of Discipline, Great Santini, those are all great. Waters Wide, the movie Conrad came out of that. If I get some nights I'll be up on TV, watch TV, and Conrad comes on with, who was in the guy? I forget who was in it, but he plays Conroy as a teacher in real life. But that's a good one. I'm a Steinbeck of Mice and Men guy. Yep. Hemingway, Old Man to Sea kind of guy. Did a book report for that like 5 straight years in high school and college. I could probably recite most of that book. But recently I just finished. This is a golf story, and I love golf. So Tom Coyne, A Course Called Home, where he's written a course called Scotland, a course called Ireland, a course called America, a course called Home. He just bought a golf course with Bill Murray and Jason Kelsey and some other investors, and they just redid a 9-hole course up in the Catskills. I've read that recently. That was a great one because it kind of went through that. I read Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. Annie Duke's a poker player. if you like to play poker. And it's talking about each decision you make. It's a play calling book. A guy named Dub Maddox got me on it. He's from out in Oklahoma, and it's not a play calling book. It's about each decision you make affects the next decision. It's talking about how you go through that. So that's still one. I just read a book on it's kind of a picture book. It was really easy to read on Seve Ballesteros, who's one of my favorites in golf, and right now we're doing a book study with our team on John Gordon's The Hard Hat. So that's something we're about to start here next week with our team, or the following. I guess we'll start the following week, but we're going to start with all of our players about the attributes of a great teammate. So we're kind of go through that book together with them each week. So they're going to have a little homework. They kind of know what's coming. They're not real happy with me, but John Gordon's a great writer, easy to read. Short books. They're kind of easy to get a chapter and read it real quick. I'm reading 2 other books right now. I got one that it's about this thick. It's like 700 pages. And there's a bookstore, Kevin, you may know this one. There's a bookstore downtown Greenville across from Sobeys, up at the old post office or government building or whatever.
Yep.
And we go in there a lot, my wife and I do. And they have like a section that's all the presidents. You can get a book. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm a nerd, so I'm thinking it'd be great to read about every president.
Yeah.
But I don't have time to read however many books, 47 books or whatever that is. So I bought a book. It's like 700 pages, and I'm working my way through each president. And it goes chronologically. So I'm trying to learn a little bit more about each president, what they did, what they grew up, all that stuff. And I'm also reading The Case for Christ. I like Bill Maher, because Bill Maher, even though he and I ideologically are really not on the same page, he can have a debate and listen to your side and just calmly talk to you about it, which is something I think we've lost in America a lot of times, because we have to justify our side. I think he truly wants to know why you disagree with him. And I admire him for that. Again, he and I ideologically are probably on opposite directions, opposite ends, but he listens to that. So I'm reading The Case for Christ, which he had somebody on who was probably some actor I didn't know, but the guy was talking about how he was an atheist and became a Christian because he read the book, A Case for Christ. I thought, okay, I'm a Christian. Why haven't I read that book? So I'm going to read the book, because that's just the way my mind works. If I hear a book, I'm going to order it. Just get on Amazon, boom, it's going to be here in 2 days. And that's kind of how I do it. So my wife just expects boxes to show up with Amazon books all the time. And I love buying books online. I love, I go to a lot of my daughter, Brittany, and I go to a lot of estate sales together, something she and I like to do a lot. And I'll buy books there. I think I told you I bought a John Wooden book for 50 cents. And I was going to give it to a basketball coach friend of mine. And I opened it up. When I opened up, it had his autograph in it. I said, let's put it under my arm. I said, let's go. We got the card. We ran out of that place as fast as we could. They never opened the book up. So I got an autographed John Wooden practical basketball book for 50 cents. But I love to read. They say old school stories, reading is knowledge. But I want to learn things, whether it's me learning about football. I read a lot of football books. I like reading about coaches. I think there's a lot, and I like reading about old coaches. I got a bunch of old football books about the Oklahoma Wishbone and Bear Bryant on football, and Frank Leahy on football, Newt Rockney. Some of these books are, I've got the Bill Walsh books, kind of holy grail. It's like, that's the one book in my house that my kids know if the house ever burns down, which books to grab. And when dad dies, which books to grab, because they're going to sell them. That's one of them. It's the $800 book or whatever online, the Bill Walsh one, because you can't get it anymore. But my kids know where they are and that kind of stuff. So, but I just love reading. It's something I did at an early age. And I think I told you, I've probably read every book about the Masters there is. I have most of them. And, I like learning about different topics. So reading things that maybe the president book is kind of a stretch for me, because it goes way back in history. And it's hard to get to, but it's about 20 pages on each president. But it's something I want to do. It's kind of a challenge I've set for myself.
Yeah, no, reading's great. I didn't start doing it until about 7 years ago. I guess right before COVID. So something I got into. So I always recommend that. And go to a used bookstore too. Mr. K's in Greenville. It's one of my favorite places. Every time I'm in Greenville, I go to Mr. K's and end up walking out with something there. And just read a 800-page biography on Grant, so I understand what you're talking about being a challenge. But as we wrap this thing up, Coach, what are some goals that you have for the 2026 version of the Warhorses? I
want our kids, first of all, to have a great experience. I learned from a parent Guy took me to play golf about 20 years ago, 25, 26 years ago at Thornblade. He told me, so you come play golf with me whenever you want to. He said, my son's first 2 years of high school, his experience has been bad. It's been awful. He said, and I'm not asking you to start him. I'm not asking you to play him. But his experience has to be good. And that's something we try to do with little things, like our kids don't know it, but for the Jamboree, we're ordering Chick-fil-A. There's no Chick-fil-A in Barnwell. We have to order it, get it. It actually delivers to Barnwell. We've learned that now, but for North Augusta. But we're going to order it and get it in here just to be something different for them. But I want them to have a great experience. I want to have a great experience with coaches or teammates. I love mine. I played for Reed Sharpie, and my high school experience was amazing. He made it that way. We didn't win a lot of games. We beat the number 7 team in the country at Greenwood one night, and that was a huge win when I was a sophomore. But my experience was amazing. We didn't make the playoffs the next year. Kind of like, us struggling last year. Winning and losing didn't have anything to do with the experience. And that's what I want, first of all. Second, I want us to compete. I want us to learn, and I want us to win some ball games. We look at our core values, our core values, spell the word tall, in our program, toughness. I'm tough enough to handle whatever happens. Life gets hard. I'm going to line up. I'm going to go to work every day. My daughters, I told you my daughters had Crohn's issues for a while now, over 10 years. She's got to be tough. She's got to get after it. She's got to line up and go through life. We've all got to do that for our families and for ourselves. A is accountability. I'm responsible for me. I tell our players all the time, if I go out tonight and get a DUI, which I'm not, but if I do, it's my fault. It's not y'all's fault. It's my fault. And I've got to be responsible for my actions. The L is love. We're going to love each other. We're going to show affection to each other. Not we're all huggy kissy. We're going to knock you in the dirt, pick you up, and love you. But we're going to love to hit you again too. And then L is legacy. I told Coach Sharpie, we all going to leave a legacy. Coach Sharpie left a legacy with me. I want to leave a legacy. Our players, our team. This is team 108 in Barnwell history. It's team. There's only 2 left. There's only 2 wards team left. There's this one next year. That's all we got. So we're going to leave a legacy, good, bad, or indifferent. We're going to leave the best legacy we can leave. I tell our players, I tell adults this sometimes. I tell our parents this, I guess. Think about the teacher you loved growing up, or the person, the adult, the coach, and they left positive thoughts in your mind. Well, you can see them nodding. I said, okay, think about the teacher you liked the least. You didn't want to go to that class. You didn't want to be around. The coach you couldn't stand. The parent, somebody else's parent, the mom or dad that you had to hang out with their kid and you didn't like to be around them because they were rude to you or whatever. What did they say to you? They said words that demeaned you and you didn't like. They left a legacy with you. You didn't mean to. I had a player of mine from 1991. He was a track athlete at Greer High. He paid for our pregame meal before our scrimmage. He was a 7th grader. He lives in Georgia. He just saw we were looking and sent me a donation. Now, I wasn't thinking back then, coaching track, that in 2026, he was going to be in Georgia sending a donation to Barnwell High School, and I was going to be a head football coach. I didn't know where we were going to end up. I was probably the worst. I apologize to him because I was probably the worst track coach in the history of track. All right? I was told you were voluntold you're going to be the track coach. But that's what we want to leave with our players. Those core values are important. The winning takes care of itself. We're going to have fun. We're going to get after it. I want to be physical. I want to be tough. I want to have a great time. I want to play the game like it's supposed to be played, and I want to respect the game at all times because, again, I think the big thing is we're going to win or lose. We're going to shake the other team's hand and be happy we got a chance to compete. I think that's one of the great things coming out of COVID that for those of us who went through COVID, remember is, man, we were so excited on Tuesday. We found a game and we were playing somebody, and we got to keep that going.
Well, this has been great. I want everyone to go follow Coach Smith and the Warhorses on social media. They do a great job posting updates about their kids and their program, so certainly check them out on there. Like I mentioned, follow us on all social media, our website, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Jerel, anything else for Coach? Let him go today.
Well, Coach, you've been more than gracious with your time today. It's great catching up with you again and talking about your program. I know you guys are going to bounce back. We're excited to watch the dogs fight that's going to be 1A football this year and both the divisions, and I know you guys are going to perform well. So best of luck. Stay healthy. We don't want you playing 14 quarterbacks this year, and you guys get after it.
Thank y'all. We got 2 Thursday night games at home due to a couple of situations, so y'all come on down on Thursday night and come see us if you can, okay?
We'll do our best, Coach. Appreciate your time, man. Look forward to seeing you again here soon, and best of luck, all right?
Thank you. Go Warhorses.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.